Hello and welcome to Legends of the Wind. I'm Jurri Schenck. Thank you for joining us tonight. It is a pleasure to have you here on our show. I am honestly really stoked about tonight because the legend I'm going to be presenting to our guest is pretty cool, and it kind of ties into a previous legend. So if you haven't seen my post earlier about tonight's show with Robby, I was referring to a previous legend episode from season 1 called The Storehouse of Secrets. Now, if you haven't seen that one, you should go back later and check it out. So that is such a good story, and we're going to bring it together. So welcome, everybody. Thank you. You know, last time we had our broadcast, which was earlier this week on Monday, we brought back Jody and Jake, and it was so cool to have them back. We were both having a free-for-all discussing Jody's story and talking about both of their experiences with Legends of the Wind and how story was really impacting them. And also, guys, thank you for ordering a story from us. We've had a promotion for free stories, and we also had people actually paying to order. So thank you very much for investing in us, for trusting me to deliver your story. And by the way, we still have room for more orders. And so if you're interested in that, go to legendsofthewind.com. Go to our store and order a story called Become a Legend. And just so you know that my wife, Alisha Choi, can do illustrated book covers of one-off prints for this. It's a hardbound cover and also a soft-bound cover. And my wife, Alisha Choi, has designed these. Your legend would be in this. It's a great keepsake for your life and for the story to speak to you for a long time. Also, please don't forget that we already have a product, our Volume 1 story, Legends of the Wind. It's on Amazon and also on our website. It has 20 short stories. There's prophetic stories in here that really speak to your hearts in a fun and fantastical way, and they will really inspire you. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome to the show. Now, we're going to get right into it. So I would like to introduce to you our guest, Robby. So Robby, hello, good to see you.
Thank you. Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming tonight. I'm so excited that you're here. I want to get your name on there. There you go, Robby Little. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So, talk about yourself. Introduce yourself to the audience so we have a general idea what's going on.
Hmm. Well, I had seen one of the prophetic stories that you had done, and I've been so involved and interested in the prophetic for many years. And so I wanted to see what God had for me. And so anyway, all that to say, the prophetic is very much a part of my life. And as right now, I'm still doing it, but I'm doing it through life coaching. I'm a life coach. And so I'm using the prophetic during my life coach sessions. And I'm also in the midst of writing a book. I was adopted from Colombia, South America. And so I'm listening for what God wants me to use prophetically in my book. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Well, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, we're excited to know your story, your realistic story, your biography, and also the story of the Spirit that is found in your book. So thank you very much. And I'm excited to have more conversation about your background later in the show. So how did you learn about Legends of the Wind?
I belong to Kingdom Writers Association, which is based here in San Diego. And I know Bray and Jill Wyckoff. And uh, Bray was showing it on his Facebook page and talking about this. He was going to do this. So I happened to watch it and hear about you and this unique prophetic way of interacting with people. And it so intrigued me. It was just so fascinating to me, the whole way that you've done it as a writer, because I like to write myself. And I felt also that right now in the season of my life that I want to hear something maybe new and fresh and different. and so
Oh,
I'm hoping to get that.
well, I think you're in the right place. That is so cool. Well, I won't disappoint. I can guarantee you that. So, you kind of talked about briefly a moment ago about why you wanted to order a story. Can you give us a little bit more information about that? Why you wanted one?
I really wanted something tangible that came from someone that I really didn't know anything about or had even heard of before, like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt strongly that God led me in this to contact you
Okay.
and say, yeah, that this the time was now, that you need to do this now because he has something for me. And so I thought, okay, I've never done this before, a little nerve wracking, but I'm excited. And so that's when I contacted you and purchased a
Oh,
story, and I'm excited.
yes, I'm so thankful. Thank you for your purchase. It really means a lot. I mean, it is something that we are taking seriously, and I've gotten through a lot of counseling and other things from people about what we're doing, and it seems like there is just God's going, go for it, you know. So you said it's time, didn't you, just a moment ago?
I
Well,
did.
it is time for your story. Are you ready for story time?
I am most definitely ready.
Cool. All right. So your story, your legend, Robby Little, you have become a legend. The clock is ticking. Sweat dripped down little Robbie's face as she took to the stage in front of one of the largest audiences she had ever met. The pressure was on because even though her hard work prepared her for this moment, everything was on the line. Her agent, her manager, her family, and all her peers all believed in her and her talent. But the real question was, did she believe in herself? This journey started years ago out in the desert land before she came to the urban cities. Out in this wasteland were many dunes and dark nights. Robby learned to watch the stars and understand the seasons. It was a place of mentorship and equipping. In fact, she had 3 wise men, yet one of them was a woman. This wise woman poured into her everything Robby could learn. The stars were beautiful, and the galaxy of the Milky Way mesmerized Robby. There were many mysteries in the stars that she sought to learn. Robby was aware of the corruption of those who watched the stars, but she sought the deeper root messages. This time in the wasteland led her to find herself, and the 3 wise mentors spoke to her. They sought to impart fresh revelations and things that were uncommon to the people of the land. Some of those people she called family. This time of learning overwhelmed her, not from the texts she had been reading, but from those in her community who did not understand her or wish to learn from her. This burden of a spirit of religion weighed heavy on her heart. The persecution became so bad that she left and entered the realms of city life. This led her to her opportunity to shine on the stage. She held a heartfelt message and devised a clever and inspiring way to say it. But more important than that, her words were the idea of images that would come to her. Her visions and dreams burst forth into her imagination in the urban land. The foundations that were laid in the desert were now becoming structures for her. This now led her to become a creature of freedom and flight. Little Robby, in her dreams, transformed into the little robin bird. She would take flight during the night seasons and reach out into the worlds of the imagination and the sky. There was joy inside her heart as she flew. These journeys of flying would take her to many places all over the earth. She saw many secret things that would only become proven true when news events would take place. And in this, little robin bird would shine in the faces of angels, and they would speak love and strength to her as she faced many challenges. The little robin bird flew and flew and flew some more, and every night she came to find new mysteries. This helped her gain confidence as she grew in her flying talent. Whenever she shared information with trusted friends, they were all very alarmed and wondered, how could this be? The little robin bird said to them, "Today I'm taking a new journey to the Storehouse of Secrets and hear about a book that is written about me. Come and let's find out what stories there are." So the little robin bird went out late at night and dreamed. She flew up high into the sky and let the moon's light shine down upon her. There was pleasure in her heart, and as she flew, there was a miracle in front of her, a swirling blue portal of light that opened up into a circle. As the little robin bird flew into it, a light shone all around her, for now she was in another realm and dimension. The little robin bird flew over the English countryside in the bright sunlight. There were no clouds in the sky, but the rolling hills below were bright green. As she flew, she came across a road lined with trees that brought her to the famous three-level manor. On the top third floor, there was a domed window that covered the center of the building. The little robin bird saw an opening and flew in. Inside was the magical Storehouse of Secrets that contained many mysteries of the universe. There were many treasure chests on shelves, some opened, some closed shut. However, what got little robin bird excited was a huge planetary system similar to a sphere was on display, made of brass and gold. In its center were the sun and other planets, the ones we all know, but surrounding it were the invisible realms that were made clear. The little robin bird landed on a bench that sat before this astronomical display, and she chirped in delight. A voice spoke up. "Is that you, Robby?" The little robin bird turned to look and saw a girl with a notepad and pen in hand. Little Robin chirped in surprise. The girl said, "Now that you're here, you don't have to be a bird. Come join me in this place. My name is Sally. I am the keeper of the Storehouse of Secrets. Here, let me help you." Sally reached into her pocket and pulled out a pinch of gold dust. Sally sprinkled the gold dust on the little bird, and in the light of gold glitter, the gold dust dropped down and she shuffled her feathers. A magical transformation shined out bright light, and the little robin bird turned into Robby the Magnificent. Robby exclaimed, "How did you know how to do that?" Sally replied, "I learned it from here, the Storehouse of Secrets." Robby's eyes grew wide open, and together they looked around the vast space. Sally pointed at the many objects in the storehouse and explained how the astronomical display worked and how the open treasure chests used to contain marvelous revelations of the past. Robby asked about the locked treasure chests. Sally replied, "Some of those are for you. They contain unclaimed mysteries and revelations. The great king sent you here that you may learn from me before it's time to open them." Sally then told Robby how she knew all about her lessons from the three wise mentors and about how she suffered from the community that did not understand her. Robby had tears in her eyes, and Sally expressed great comfort and encouragement. This special student felt that finally someone understood her and recognized her. "At last! You get me! You really get me!" Robby gave Sally an enormous hug. Sally said, "Robby, you can always fly into the sky while you dream at night and come here. There are books, there are scientific displays, there are visions and holograms. All of this is available to you, but only if you seek it, only if you desire it. The heavens welcome you to this place of revelation. Come here as much as you like." Robby said, "Really? It's all for me?" "Yes," said Sally, "but you can't keep it to yourself. This place, the Storehouse of Secrets, belongs to more than you or me. It's for everyone who has a ready heart." Robby and Sally seemed to spend hours and hours there. Robby watched, read, learned, and listened, and soon became overwhelmed with the goodness she found there. This now leads us to the stage Robby is now standing on. Her sweat was dripping down her face, and the audience she now has is waiting for her. The clock is ticking. It is not because of a bomb scare or some other matter. Robby's time is at hand. Robby's time is now. The 11th hour of terror and fright has passed. It is time for Robby to shine. All the wisdom and revelation she has is ready for presentation to the masses, to the audience in front of her. The Great Spirit welcomes Robby to the forefront. No more hiding, no more standing off in the shadows on the sidelines. Your brilliant performance is here. Robby grew strength from the books of revelations in the Storehouse of Secrets, and every night she flew like a little bird there. She knew how to occupy the heavens and the mountains on earth. No longer was she afraid, for she found confidence in her soul. Robby decided it was time to shine. Inceptio.
Well, I'm fighting back tears at the moment.
That's okay.
Yeah,
It takes a moment
yeah.
when we finish a story for you to kind of regroup, so it's no problem. If you need to cry, or it's okay. This is a safe place, so whenever you're ready to speak, you can. There's no pressure.
Yeah. Um, been sharing with my husband that that is actually I have felt like I've been on the sidelines for a long time,
Mm.
and taking that step onto the stage, as you put it, um, takes a lot of courage, and yeah, God is just so speaking to me so strongly through the entire story. I'm just overwhelmed with His goodness and love for me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's so much confirmation
Okay.
in the story. So much confirmation. Almost everything you said was confirmation, and I'm very excited. And when you know that you've carried something in your heart for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and then someone pretty much speaks that out to you that has no way of knowing, and you know it's God, it just does something to your spirit. And yeah, yeah, I'm kind of where I'm at right now.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm very glad to hear that it really got your attention. Uh, I want you to know, like, you're very aware right now in this moment, love for you, right? Yes.
yeah, oh yeah.
So, I mean, one of the first questions the story asks is, everyone believed in you, but do you believe in yourself? And I think that this legend helps you know that you can do it. You have what it takes, and that you can believe in yourself. And so now is the time to shine. One of the things we like to say here at Legends of the Wind is to become the hero in your own story.
Hmm.
Robby, you may be this gentle little robin bird, but you are Robby the Magnificent. And that is your true identity. And so there's someone who said this before. It's no more time for playing small, Robby. It's not time for playing small. And like some of the things I've heard other people say is like, do it afraid, right? So
Hmm.
when we enter in this world in our story, we come into this world with an orphaned heart. And so we have that in one hand, an orphaned heart. And then we come into the world also with a destiny, with a scroll written on our heart. And those things clash and they fight against each other. And it's about coming into the healing of sonship and becoming royal. And so I would encourage you, Robby, is that you are Robby the Magnificent. And I would even venture to encourage you to say that about yourself to other people. You have permission to shine. You have permission to become glorious. And it's not meant to hide against underneath the bushel. You're meant to be on a place of prominence. And so one of the things that we find is that you need permission. So I've said this in other broadcasts. Robby, you have permission granted to fulfill your destiny. You have permission granted to shine and to become who you truly are. And so I want you to think about this story. Think about what's being spoken in it, and receive it and do something with it. So I've talked a bit too much. Can you get me share with us anything else that touched your heart about the story?
Well, it's so interesting when the first part of it was talking about taking the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Just at dinner tonight, I was talking to my husband about I have things to say, but I've never had a platform to really say them. And would I even have what it takes to do that? But we were talking about like the stage tonight. God, that's so you. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just so it's like right off the bat, it
Mm-hmm.
is the story starts that way. So that
Mm-hmm.
was a whole divine setup, if you will, for
Yeah.
what was coming through the story.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and the it's interesting about the foundations in the desert.
Yes.
Because we have a vacation home in the desert, and we often go over there for respite.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sanctuary. It's like the desert fathers understood what was in the desert,
Mm.
and it's just a different type of peace,
Mm-hmm.
an oasis. And we just got back from there just not too long ago, a few days ago. So the desert actually has a real deep significance to me.
Okay.
So yeah, that was huge.
What about the mentor part of the desert?
Um, the mentor part, which I thought was very interesting, I'm trying to kind of think about that because I've had some really amazing mentors in my life. Um, I think Graham Cook was one of them
Mm-hmm.
who mentored me.
Yes.
Um, Dano McCullum was
Yes.
another one. And you mentioned the third one was a woman. And I think the woman actually was someone that actually first taught me about the prophetic when I felt God put that on my heart.
Mm.
And I didn't know anything about it. And she took me for a year under her wing, if you will, and
Nice.
mentored me. Yes. And in fact, she was the one that introduced me to Graham's teachings.
Ah.
So those three people in particular stand out as the mentors
Well,
in my life.
that's brilliant. Get it? Brilliant.
Yes, yes.
Graham Cook's brilliant book
That's
house.
right. That's true.
Wow. Now, if I might pry a little bit about you helping me understand your story, what do you think about the idea of the stars, the galaxies, and flying? What do you think about that?
I liked it. I really did. It was like, as you use the word permission, to really soar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that there was no constraint, there was no box around me.
Mm-hmm.
That I had permission to soar and explore. And I've always been fascinated by the heavens, the heavenlies, if you
Mm-hmm.
will.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I'm still trying to kind of process that part of it,
Okay.
but I did like it.
Very good. What about your journey into the Storehouse of Secrets? You told me before the show started. By the way, everyone who's watching, I just met her 10 minutes before the show started. I never interviewed her. I never researched her. I just did this completely without any influence of any kind. And so thank you very much, because you told me just before the show that you watched a previous episode that I highlighted about the original Storehouse of Secrets. Can you share with the audience and with me how that story and this story speaks to you?
Um, Let me think how it speaks to me. I think I really feel like there's a storehouse of secrets for us all. And that's that special place that we get to go with God and spend, and where He reveals His treasures to us and the revelation. And both of them were very similar in both stories of unlocking the door and entering into this beautiful storehouse,
Mm-hmm.
or you could call realm or
Yeah.
anything, but with God,
Yeah.
and that's seeking out the treasures that we get to be able to do with Him. Um, and they're waiting there. They're waiting there for all of us, and they're ours. They're ours, but they're for everybody.
Right.
And that was beautiful. I liked that because anything that we go through isn't just for us; it's for everybody. It's for the world.
Absolutely. That's exactly right on. So let me open up the chat. Mike Smith says, "Hi, Jurri, great story. Thank you." My wife Alisha and Kylie are watching says, yes, love this story. So if you're in the chat and you are, we'd love to have your comment or question for me or Robby. Feel free to speak up, and we'll try and engage with you as well while we're talking to each other. So thank you so much, Robby. I like that you understood the Storehouse of Secrets and that it is for everybody. In the original story, it talked about how people who were wicked and had selfish ambitions, still went after it, and they took the risk and they went for it. And I think that people who are of the kingdom are often, they lack desire. And they lack the pursuit of their destiny, because we're still saying, oh, I'm still waiting for the right timing, or I'm still becoming somebody. And I think that hamstrings us. And I think that it kind of looks like, the way I'd like to explain it is, if you know there's a library in heaven with books written about you, and they could be of any genre, any kind of fantasy, fairy tale, romance, action, adventure, and you knew that there were books written about you, wouldn't you want to know what story you're in? And when you begin to open up the recognition that this is all available to you now, and you have permission to go there by the sanctified imagination, to put a theological label on it, and you can engage in those places, why not? Why not go? I mean, the way I get these stories is that very thing. And so that's how I operate. And I think with you, the prophetic, it's the same way. But the prophetic is just more than seeing and hearing. What I want to bring you, Robby, is a whole nother level of interaction. That these realms, we are seated in heavenly places, right? These realms are here. This family is here, and it's meant to be interactive. It's like right now, everyone's watching us virtually, right? You're seeing me virtually on a computer screen. I'm watching you on a computer screen. That's only goes so far in relationship, but face to face is totally different, isn't it? And so that's what this kind of interaction is meant to be. And I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions to you. So, Robby, who's more powerful, Jesus or death?
Oh, Jesus.
Right. And so are we seated right now in heavenly places?
Absolutely.
Then why is the church saying, when I die, then I'll go to heaven? When we're making death the gateway to the Father, when it wasn't done that way, that Jesus is the gateway to the Father, but yet we end up like giving up our time and opportunity, waiting for death to happen before we ever participate in what's available to us today. And so that's how these stories work. These are not just ordinary stories. These are revelatory, I'll put it that way. And so God made the imagination, and it is not an evil thing. It can be used for evil, but it is meant for good and is meant for interaction. And so when I get these stories, I get to know you, and they basically help me to interact with your story, and I get to engage with it. And so when you read your story, I'll email you this story later tonight, you will be able to chew on it and process it and see it. The prophetic is like, seeing and hearing. And so when you wake up in the morning, and the first sense that you get is touch, right? You feel the comfort of the comforter or the blanket in your pillow. Then you wake up some more and you hear the lawnmower of the neighbor next door. And then you become more awake and you see, you open your eyes. Now, if that is where you stopped your interaction of process of waking up, you're going to be a lazy bum in bed all day. You're meant to get out of the bed, still seeing, still hearing, and go out into the house and meet the rooms and the people, your family. And so that's when I talked to you just before the show about bringing the prophetic for you to a whole nother level. And so for you as a little bird, that is a way of ascending and it's interacting. And so when you get to meet Sally or an angel or Jesus, cloud of witnesses, all that stuff, that is so that you can grow more. The prophetic isn't the end all that be all. There's more than that. And that's what I wanted. I've been preparing saying this. I knew I was going to bring this up with you a couple days ago. And so I hope that makes sense to you. I hope it encourages you. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. I do.
Thank you. Good. So we have some comments. This is Narda Oldfield says, love seeing you on here, Robby. Thank you, Narda. Mike Smith says, Robby, your stage is coming soon. The message you have will be very impactful to many. Narda says again, they do not have a revelation of being on the right side of cross. Thank you. That's a good point. And Corey Schrader says, so good. And Donna King, Robby, what a great story. Kingdom Creativity International. I wonder who that could be. What a precious gift to get a story like this. Bray, Jill, how dare you say that? Well, thank you, guys. Guys, thanks for commenting. These are really encouraging. It's encouraging to me. Robby, are you being encouraged by all these comments?
Yes, so much so, yes.
Awesome. Now, thank you for comments. Try to come up with some questions that you can throw at me if you don't mind. I'd like to see what you're thinking. Part of the doing these stories, and then afterward is the conversation. Is what we do is we call learning to think mythically. Now, myth isn't a lie; it's a deeper truth, and it's meant for opening your eyes to your story and who you are on the hero's journey. And so that's part of our conversation, is to unpack it. So if you have questions, please do ask them. And I want to get your brains and your heart thinking and your emotions ready, because there has an opportunity for revelation and discovery. Robby, what else do you think is in this story that's still important to you? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot, right?
Yeah, there is. The one of the things that I find very interesting is my given name is Robin. And I was not named after the bird. I was named after my father, who was a Robert. But when I was growing up, my grandfather used to sing this song, Poor Little Robin, walking to Missouri, and couldn't afford to fly. And so, but it was a bird. And so
Wow.
I remember I took that and every time he would sing it to me, I just tears rolling down because I couldn't afford to fly. So when you have said something about you're flying all over the world, I don't know, it kind of redeemed something that I had probably taken into my heart as a little girl, but didn't understand that. And it just so spoke to me that I can afford to fly.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't afford, but I can. And so there was something very prophetic about even that in and of itself for me. Just a real redemption there. So I so appreciated that. I couldn't believe you saying that.
Well, that's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah.
So is there anything in your childhood that connects with this story besides that?
I think very much so. I think I was always been shy and just didn't feel like, and I was always the new person because we moved a lot. So I was always the new person, which didn't help being shy. So I don't think I ever really grew the confidence of being really who I was made to be, because I was always concerned about being a new kid and trying to survive that, if you will. And I think that really kind of shut an area of my heart down. So I kid you not, that just the statement took the stage. It will carry so much weight to me. You have no idea how much weight. And the permission, because it's been on my heart for many, many, many years. And even the title of the story, The Clock is Ticking, is so funny because I tried not to go there because I knew what it was. The title was before this. I'm thinking, okay, well, it's at my age because I grew up there, And I'm thinking,
Right.
no, it's not. And God's saying, no, it's not. But I've had a sense of urgency, probably particularly for the last year. And so it's totally, the clock is ticking. And that's what he's been sharing with me.
Man, wow. I actually, I'm kind of in the prophetic right now. So I am seeing that I've said this to someone else in another show. I don't know who. This fall is going to be pivotal for you in a good way. I see that there's going to be like people are going to see you and you're going to be glowing and shining. You're going to be highlighted to them, and it's going to open doors of favor for you where you're going to be basically released onto the stage. And I think that I think you should prepare yourself. I want you to visualize yourself on the stage whenever you're in prayer time. So whenever you in your prayer time, I don't want you to see yourself anywhere else but on that stage. And I want you to be facing the spotlight of the light on you. You can still see the people and you can see the masses. But what's going to be helpful to you is Jesus is going to be right there, right here. And I want you to imagine and visualize you being on that stage practicing whatever you're going to do. And so when you do that for the next 2 or 3 months faithfully, around that time when it becomes a natural for you, then you're going to be in a better place, because I would not be surprised that someone of significance will pull you onto the stage and ask you to talk and tell your story. And you've been prepared because you've done this work, and you're going to have your story worked out. And then while you're doing that, your book, I don't know how close you are to finishing your book or how far you're into it, but that also has to be in parallel with this process. Because when you're preparing your visualization on the stage and doing your writing, when that moment happens, you have been prepared, and it's a convergence for you. And then you'll be ready to go. And I tell you what, after that one moment, things are going to get really busy for you. So you need to be ready to know how to pace yourself and rest, because you need to know you can't overextend yourself. I don't know if you have adrenal issues or energy issues, but you will need to be able to pace yourself, because there's something going to unfold for you. I also want to encourage you that it will include your husband, and that you will need to be side by side, helping each other, encouraging each other, because he may have a challenge with you being in the spotlight and has never experienced that before. So he needs to know, and you need to know, that you support each other in that time of prominence and promotion, because you don't want anything to divide your marriage or discourage each other or misunderstand each other, if you follow me. So that dynamic has to be agreed upon and set forth now, so you're ready for it. So I want to, basically, I'm setting the stage for you, Robby, and I want you to know that things are not going to be the same. And I want you to know that you have been faithful to prepare for this, and now you need the practical stuff. And so going to the Storehouse of Secrets, like when you see yourself on the stage, don't just visualize that. Go with Jesus to the Storehouse of Secrets. Go there. Find out what he has to show you. Find out who he has for you to meet. Who in the cloud of witnesses is waiting for you. What is the revelations that is in those treasure chests that belong to you? These are real. This is not just fantasy fairy tale stuff. This is real. In fact, fantasy and fairy tales typically are more real than what we tell ourselves in the religious church. And that doesn't mean we are doing extra biblical things or defaming the word of God. We're not. We're just engaging with the realms that he created for us. So I hope that practical application works for you. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. It works for me.
Good.
Yeah, I can do this.
Yes. Don't forget what you just said. I can do this, because remember, I got your story right here. Where is it? All right. So I'm going to read some of it to you. The pressure was on, because even though her hard work prepared her for this moment, everything was on the line. Her talent, her agent, her manager, her family, and her peers all believed in her and her talent. But the real question is, did she believe in herself? So I charge you today to go forward. Yes. And King KCI says, O'Donna says, so good. KCI, Kingdom Creativity International. It's a mouthful. Awesome, spot on, sense of urgency. Your voice matters. Yeah, Robby, your voice matters. And Donna says again, yes, we can believe you can do it. And so there's a saying that I've come up with for another creative project called the dream inside your heart is reality. Think about that. The dream inside your heart is reality. And so what you need is to receive permission granted that you can pursue your dream. It is a holy, precious thing that he gave you. And you just need to go for it. Let it unfold. Part of things I talk about other episodes is that part of being a hero in your own story is being an active character. You're never going to enjoy a movie or a book where the main character is responding to things happening to him and all the other secondary characters are doing more interesting things. A story that we love is an underdog. Robby, you may think yourself as an underdog, right? So an underdog is got all the cards stacked against him, and he's got a mission, and he's going to go for it, and he's going to take action and see things go forward, and he's going to get knocked down many times. He's going to get buffeted by circumstances, from doubt, from fear, from the realms of death. But that one man or woman overcomes, and they're active in the story. They're the one pushing their story forward. See, the religious system will call it selfish ambition. And they'll say, oh, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? You can't be that great. How dare you? And they'll try to diminish you and crush your desire. And that is not heaven. Heaven wants heroes that go for it. And so that is where you need to make a mental thought life adjustment about you. Will you be one that's buffeted around by circumstances and reacting? Or will you be proactive and take the risk and do it afraid? And I think that is the challenge we in the religious system have to face. My wife and myself have been attacked so much by religious system people saying, oh, you can't do that. You're going to die if you go down that road. And it crushed us. It destroyed our hearts. But we had to come to the place where, you know what? My desire is a God-given desire. And I am going to see it through. So that's part of the heartbeat that I carry for you and anyone else reading the books or watching the podcast. I hope that this edification is what you need today. What do you think?
Yes, it's lining up with what has been on my heart and thoughts. Like I said, especially this last year. Mm-hmm. Very much so. So and I so appreciate it and thank you for that.
Yeah.
Again, it's one thing to receive that. Not that I'm trying to diminish it, but it's one thing to receive that from people you know or people like your family, but someone you've never met before, like yourself.
Right.
It's different.
Of course.
And it brings a different weight.
Sure.
But nonetheless, it's still a weight.
Yes. So, and I'm so thankful that you allowed me to have the opportunity to speak to you. I don't take this lightly at all. So if you have family or friends watching right now, Robby, or people who are watch this broadcast later, what would you say to them about, would you recommend to them to get them a story? Would you recommend them to order a story? And if so, why? Now that you've gotten time to process this.
I would most definitely recommend anyone, friends, family, anyone, to do this, especially because a lot of the people that I know walk in the prophetic, and it's important to them. They value it and what it brings. And I think that we all need to be able to hear our stories that you've pulled it out of the storehouse of heaven in the book. And it's just, like you said, use the word earlier, edifying and confirmational and encouraging. And there's so much life to to these things. It's not just a one-dimensional; it's multifaceted,
Mm-hmm.
and and there's just yeah. I would say if you don't do it for yourself, do it buy a story for a loved one or a friend, because you won't be sorry. Absolutely, will not be sorry.
Thank you very much. Now, I also know there are some critics out there for what I do, and I want to address that. So, Robby, are you familiar with the name Kim Clement?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes, I know.
I contacted Kim many years ago when he was still alive, when I was doing the beginnings of this in 2008 and 9 in Northridge, California. I was at a church called Living Faith Christian Church with Pastor Graham Cathers. And that church was one of the churches that was connected to Kim Clement. I would go to Kim's meetings every time, everywhere I could when he was in California. And I learned to do what I do by following his model and his example. And so I started getting all these stories. And I met my wife. We were dating, of course, at the time. And she was a prophetic artist. She would paint paintings in church during worship at Expression 58 with Sean Bowles. And what happened is she goes, Jurri, you need to make this into a business. And I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I can't charge money for this. She goes, well, why not? I mean, I paint prophetic paintings. Are you telling me I can't put my art on display in a gallery or have someone buy it from me? You are creating something, she said. And she says that's different. It's not just going to church and, in a prayer line or ministry time. And that's a whole separate thing, is what she was saying. So we were friends with some of Kim's friends, and I never got to meet him in person necessarily. So I emailed him, and he emailed me back a really long email. And he explained to me that if I don't do this, charging money for a creative prophetic word, he says I'm doing a disservice to the kingdom. Then he went and explained that when he ministers to people on stage, he can smell them, not like a natural, but like in the spirit. So he says that if someone was going to have a breakthrough, he would smell honey or acacia or cinnamon, a sweet smell. And he said to me in the email, he said, you have gone through a lot of pounding in your life, and the anointing oil is created by pounding of sweet and bitter spices. And out of that is a costly price. And so he says, for you, you have to have a return. And so he says that the people on Legends of the Wind may never know what you say, but they'll remember how you feel, how you made them feel. And so he basically endorsed what we're doing, and I was okay with that since then on some level. And so this is not your church time. This is story time. And when Jesus told parables, why aren't we doing that anymore? Who's doing that today? I feel like I'm the only one in this particular sense of the parable, prophetic, and that. So I've had people tell me they don't know anybody else doing this. And for my heart, I don't want to be the only one doing this. I want everyone to do this. I want the church to remember the story, and that God created story, and that he's given us our story. And so I have a personal belief that when Jesus told parables, he got the downloads just like I do, and that it was specific to people. And so, whenever he talked to the masses, he told stories. When he was with his own people of his own language, he told sermons. And that's kind of the difference that I can see here. So I'm sorry if I'm explaining it too much, but I'm just so grateful for people to trust me to get their own story and to make an order. So thank you so much for your endorsement. KCI says, so worth it. Oh, wait, I got to go back up. Donna says, Jurri, I have never seen the prophetic used in this way. It is so powerful. Thank you for all you do in the kingdom. Man, Donna, thank you. Thank you for recognizing me and for encouraging me. It takes a lot of guts for me to do this, and I honestly shake in my boots doing it. It's not easy. And then So worth it from KCI. Bob says, great story and discussion. Thank you. Mike Smith says, I have a picture on my wall that says, how cool is that? The same God that created the mountains and oceans and galaxies looked at you, and the world needed one of you too. And then he has that in quotes, and he said to you, Robby, this is for you also.
Mm,
Isn't that sweet?
you.
That's so sweet. Wow. Well, yeah. So, Donna says, thank you for giving me a new perspective on charging for the prophetic makes sense. You're welcome. And Donna, I don't know what you do, but are you a creative person? Do you write? Do you paint? What do you do creatively? I want to hear about that. Do you know Robby? Do you know Donna?
Very
Can
well.
can you share? Is it okay? I mean, can you share about Donna? I want to hear about her because she's talking about what we're doing. What do you
Oh,
think?
yes. I know Donna for almost, again, for 14 years or so.
Okay.
And she and her husband are one of our closest friends as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Donna's very creative. And she's, I don't know, Donna, I hope it's okay. She's
Sorry,
gone in,
Donna.
yeah.
She says yes. It's okay. So you have. We won't do anything inappropriate, of course. So.
Well, she's gone into interior design.
Interior design.
And yeah, and so there's just she's very creative. I think in many forms. Besides that, just by who she is in her dance, because she is beautiful, dances beautifully during worship, and even with food, she's creative, and that's very and health and all of those things. So yeah, Donna's amazing. She's very special.
That is amazing as well. I like the idea of interior design. So that kind of reminds me, who was the first and only artist ever mentioned in the Bible? Bezalel. He was, according to Jewish tradition, not in the Bible, he was 13 years old. He had just left being a child, got into the age of being of a man, and God anointed him to teach and also to design the Ark of the Covenant and the articles of the tabernacle and the tabernacle itself. So Bezalel was the one that was doing interior design of heaven. So Donna, oh wait, yes, Donna. You can create an atmosphere of heaven by designing your rooms and your houses. And no, that's not feng shui. It's heaven's way. and so, if the Bible endorses what you're doing, it's actually in the Bible. The interior design. Can you create an atmosphere and a design of a room in a house or apartment that brings in the glory? Think about that. Can you do that? Yes, you can. And so I would encourage you, Donna, that you are going to have dreams and pictures of revelation where things are going to come together for you for your designs, and it's going to bring new clients, wealthy clients, because these people are going to be busy and they're going to have hard work and they're going to be stressed out and they're going to need a place of a sanctuary, and you're going to create that sanctuary. So go for it. Be like Bezalel in the Bible. Cool. Let's see here. Love the prophetic and various expressions from Narda. Go Robby. Narda knows her as well, I guess, and she is creative.
Yeah.
KCI, Jill and I will be there in August to be with Donna. Woohoo! Cool. Corey says, best granola ever? I don't know.
Oh, that's my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
She's not a serial killer, is she? No, I'm just kidding. Best granola. Hi, Donna. Heart. Oh, man, great word. Well, this is a lot of fun. Guys, I'm so glad to meet you guys. You don't understand. Like, I get to meet new people on this show, and I get so excited about it because I get to open up and find out who else is in this world. It's exciting to know who's out there, so thank you. Well, I should wrap it up. We're almost at an hour. Robby, do you have any final thought, or you just want me to hand it off to the end of the show?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much again, Jurri. And first and foremost, thank you to God and for giving you this gift and for the words that He has given you for me. And again, I just strongly recommend that if you don't do it for someone else. But if nothing else, share his website,
Thank
Jurri's
you.
website, because this kind of thing needs to get out there. It really needs, because it'll benefit so many people. So
Aw.
thank you.
Robbie, thank you so much. That's so sweet of you. So our website is legendsofthewind.com. And there you can see previous episodes from season 1 and season 2. And in our store, you can order Become a Legend, where you can get a story. We are doing a sale at this time for 60% off. Our typical full price is $250. I take time to do this, and I use my talents, and it's a lot of effort. And so right now we're offering it for $99. And remember that you can also order from my wife a cover illustration for your book. Your story or legend will be in this, along with some other information about us. And it's a hard or soft cover. If I get in the camera, there you go. And please do order the book, because this contains 20 prophetic stories, and it's on Amazon. You can also go to our website, legendswith.com. And, please share this video. Please let people know about what we're doing. Please spread the word. I mean, I know what we're doing is very unique and very pioneering. And so no one's ever done this before, as far as I can tell. And so God has said to go for it. It's not selfish ambition. It's permission to go and pursue. And that's what I want to encourage all of you to do. So everyone in the chat, thank you for chiming in and saying hi and giving your comments. It's so nice to meet you. It's so nice to meet your friends, Robbie. Thank you for your friends' support for you in this story. Thank you for KCI for opening the door for me to meet you. I don't take it for granted one bit, and I'm so honored that I would be able to be useful to heaven for this purpose. So thank you. Robbie, say goodbye to everybody.
Well, bye, everybody. Thank you for watching and supporting me and Jurri.
Yes, cool. And Corey says this is very cool and unique. I will. Nadia says I'll sign up sometime soon. Donna says yes, permission granted. Donna says love this so much, guys. Thank you. I got to land this plane. Oh, we're Mondays 8 p.m. 7 p.m. Pacific, and certain Thursdays we'll be having a show as well. Follow us on Facebook at Legends Wind there, or follow me and friend me on Facebook and say hi to me that you met me on the show. And we'll be having another broadcast. There will not be a broadcast on July 4th for obvious reasons, but there will be one in a week on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. And if you need to email me, you can reach me at support@legendsofthewind.com. And if you please subscribe to this channel. If you're still in the chat and you're watching, hit subscribe. We definitely need more subscribers and more likes and all that fun stuff. I really appreciate your time. Robbie, thank you so much for allowing me to be your storyteller tonight. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a wonderful evening. Good night.